In this video, we're going to show you how to use ZONA-MV to view a model generated from the PLTAERO bulk data card output from one of ZONA's software, for example, ZAERO, ZEUS, ZONAIR, etc. So the first thing you do after you run the application ZONA-MV is you go to the Import menu and you choose Tecplot file. Now this is assuming that your PLTAERO format option was to output in Tecplot format. Then you go to the folder and select the file that's generated from the ZONA code. In this case, I have an F16 aero model that was output. Select Open. Once the file is processed, ZONA-MV will give you some feedback about the file that was loaded, for example, the number of zones. In this case, we have 3 zones that were loaded. The first contains the aero model, which is the panel model that you see here in red. The second zone is the VCT model, or the vortex carry-through model, which we see here by these green panels. And the FEM grids are the finite element model grids that were loaded. It tells us the number of grids for each zone, the number of elements, and the element types. In this case, they're all quadrilateral. The total number of grids that were loaded, and the number of elements. Now you can use the, in terms of the view controls within ZONA-MV, you can use the middle mouse button to, and if you have a mouse wheel, you can use that as well to rotate, and this allows you to zoom in and out on the model. The right mouse button allows you to pan the model around the view. Then up here, if you select the controls view, which you can get from the home menu, there's a button here called Controls tab in case it's not displayed. And you can also snap these windows anywhere on the screen by grabbing the pane and snapping it where you like. In this case, if we want to put it on stack the windows, we can do that. So and you can drag them into different locations as shown here. So from the dynamic view tools, we can rotate the model about any axis, for example X or Z. This is for panning, and these are rotation tools for spherical and dynamic rotation. So once you select that, then the left mouse button can be used to perform the action that's highlighted there. These buttons down here are for zooming. This allows you to select a region that you want to zoom in on, and this is for a free formatted zoom. If we want to look at the view from different orientations, we can use the static view tools to look at the model from the top, for example, the right hand side, the front, and so on. These allow you to fit the model within the view. So if we happen to lose it because I was still on the zoom button here, you can use these to bring the model back. Then down here, okay, this is a rotation tool, so if you want to animate the model in a certain rotation, you can use that and simply select the feature, and then with the left mouse button move the model and release, and it will perform the rotation, and then you can click again to stop it. Post-processing tools, right now by default we look at the elements as shaded. You can toggle the elements on and off. You can toggle the shading on and off, nodes on and off, and boundary. So the boundary allows us to see the edges of the quadrilateral elements. And contouring, if we happen to have contour data like pressure, we can use the contour option to view that. This dialogues button is not used, and the zone settings allows you to tailor the zones in the view to desired colors and line types and so on. So for example, each one of these tabs refers to one of the post-processing options, and we can set specific features of those options. For example, on elements, we can change the element colors, the line types. On nodes, we can change the node colors, the node style, and so on. Contouring, whether we want lighting or not. Same thing with shading, shade color, and boundary. So for example, if we want to change the elements of the aero model from red to some other color. We select it here to highlight it. You can double click to toggle some of these options that are yes, no, or on, off. For example, zone show. If we double click on it, it'll turn that zone off and leave the remaining two zones, which are the VCT model, which is what we're seeing here, and the femgrids, which we don't see because there's only one element associated with that. I'm going to toggle the model back on. The element colors, if we want to change that, for example, to black, we could say OK, close this, and now we have the model displayed in black color. So that's basically it on how to load a PLTAERO model and modify the view state.